Tens of thousands of dreamers live right here in Georgia. And instead of waiting for Congress to come up with a solution to save DACA, some have begun to take action themselves. Our Tracy Hutchins brings us their story.
Undocumented folks are human. They're in our society, and they're your neighbors, they're your friends, they're your coworkers.
More than 24,000 immigrants. That's how many are part of the DACA program here in Georgia. It's why the concern is so great for Stephanie Cho at Asian Americans Advancing Justice. It's a nonprofit in Norcross. Cho says they expected that the Trump administration would rescind the DACA program, which allows children brought into the country illegally to stay here. So overnight, they created a deportation defense fund to help as many undocumented immigrants in the state as they can.
We are looking for things that are more long-term solution, but we do feel like there is this really important gap that needs to be filled right now, particularly in Georgia.
Thousands of children could be affected too. We reached out to Metro Atlanta school districts to find out how the ruling would impact them. 3 districts responded. Hall and Fulton County said, in part, they would wait for guidance from the state and federal authorities. And in a statement, Gwinnett County Public Schools said, "We strongly urge Congress to act on the matter to provide structure and stability for students affected by the phased-in termination of the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program."
It's very scary. We don't know what the federal government is going to do with everyone's information.
Jessica Colotl was brought to the U.S. as a child by her parents, who were undocumented immigrants. In 2010, she was nearly deported after she got a traffic ticket. She later became the high-profile face of illegal immigration.
Even though we're not born in this country, we are American by choice and at heart. So we will continue to fight.
And that was Tracy Hutchins reporting. And welcome back to Public Affairs on Peach. I'm Giovanna Derpick. We continue our look at the proposal to end DACA. My guests now are Stephanie Cho, who you just saw in that piece, and David Araya, Executive Director of the Hispanic organization Promoting Education. David, let's start with you.
Wonderful.
How many dreamers does your organization work with, and what's their reaction?
Yeah, so we estimate about 20% of our population that we serve are dreamers. And since the announcement that was made, we have had an array of reactions from our students, text messages, emails, phone calls, students that feel great anxiety and fear because of this situation, because of the decision that was made, due to the uncertainty that they have moving forward in their futures.
Stephanie, your organization criticized this as lacking compassion and humanity. I spoke with somebody on the street yesterday who said this has nothing to do with humanity. Some say that this has to do with hard choices.
I would definitely disagree with that statement. We are dealing with a vulnerable population of folks who at one day had status and now don't have status. And it's a really cruel punishment for these folks. And so particularly in the Asian American community, it's not talked about as much, right? But there are several hundreds of thousands of people that are on DACA. And we are looking at huge numbers now in Georgia, and a lot of folks don't want to talk about it, and they're going to their church, they're going to talk to their priests about what's happening, and they're very confused, and nothing is in language either. So we're also stressing to have more access to education, know your rights for people in this situation.
David, in a perfect world, we would take everybody in who wants to come to the U.S. and give them a job, but that's not reality. What do you tell people who say we can't take in as many people? And unfortunately, this was only supposed to happen for a fixed amount of time.
Yeah, well, I think the conversation about our DACA students isn't taking in any individual, right, additional to what we have. And the conversation is we have hundreds of thousands of students in America who know nothing else but America as home. They are American, in terms of culture, language. they've been raised in our schools, in our public schools. They have gone through the entire educational system, and all they are asking for is an opportunity to get educated, an opportunity to serve in our military, an opportunity to give back to our country. And that is the biggest conversation.
Now, very briefly, what would you say to people who say, well, why should you get reduced tuition or in-state tuition?
I think in Georgia that's not even an option. So I think we've been just even fighting for just sort of that status at this point in time. So in Georgia it's not even an option for in-state tuition.
Okay, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you very
Thanks.
much.
And stay with us. We talk with the chairman of the Georgia Young Republicans when Public Affairs on Peach wraps up.